Solana, this is Galactic Civilizations version 2.3. I might do a little video on planet management. So I kind of going through one of the topics, and since I have someone in chat, they get to choose how this goes, but the whole part of the video is going to be on planet management. And we'll start with the Onyx. All right. Now, the Onyx and the Luxar's base limitation is going to be your population. Um, so every biology type has its strengths. Um, Carbon and water are kind of very similar. They just have natural growth. Um, I haven't played water civs for a long time, so I don't know if there's anything that they add. I think they have maybe increased capacity or increased food from one of their policies. But all right, so this game is not going to be any actual gameplay. It's going to be kind of going over mechanics here. So I'll kind of start off with the just kind of the basic one. In Galactic Civilizations, one of the features is cores and colonies. So in other games, you basically set up a city and you expand the city, you build it up, and you can add more cities and you can, do many of them. Um, and it's later in the game, it could be a lot of micromanagement. Well, in GalCiv 4, they made it a lot easier, so you don't have to sit and micromanage all cities. You can set up like a few cores and for your entire empire. So the way it works is every planet has base stats: mineral input, technology input, wealth input, farming input, and cultural input. Every single colony has this. Um, and then think of this in other games like this is a mine. This is a mineral mine. This is a technology mine. This is a wealth mine. Whatever what you're mining, it doesn't really matter. You could be mining gold for wealth. You could be finding, you know, arable land and stuff for food, stuff like that. It's a mine. So your colonies feed into the core worlds. So now you can set up as many colonies as you want to a core world, but you're gonna have some limits, and I'll explain that in a second. So um, you see this? It's 3, 3, 4, 2, 9, and then you can that's on Onyx Prime. So if I double click on this, you can see 3, 3, 4, 2, 9. Now planetary inputs are the very important. Your colony will not be productive if these are low. So, if you have like 2 food and you try to make it your breadbasket world, and let's say you add 100% food, you got 2 times 100%, which is actually, I did this wrong the first time I did this. It's 1 plus 100%, which is 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. Um, but so you basically got food for food of it. However, if it was 10, and it's same thing, I'm not going to do all the math on the screen. It's 20. So the input is very important. Oh, can't clear my screen. Why is this happening? Why? Oh, because I'm hitting the wrong key. All right, here we go. As usual, um, the struggle with me using the tools is real. Anyways, so yeah, the planetary input is the most important for that. And then depending on various factors, your planetary input, you have your input, it goes into manufacturing. It's also affected by your approval up here. That also comes into this number. And if you hover over the stat here, um, you can see that they're all factors, and they all have formulas and stuff like that. I'll sort of breeze through it, but so that's how they all feed in there. So it's very important that you get this number as high as possible. So this has a colony nearby. Yeah, I'll use the colonize. So this colony has 3 minerals, 2 technology, and 1 cultural input. Now, it's not going to always send that. It's going to lose a little bit to attrition. No matter what, every mine that's feeding into the core world is going to lose at least 2% attrition. Just however you want to think of it, you're building rocket ships, so obviously the materials in a rocket ship are lost. It's going long distances. You got pirates, whatever. You don't have to worry too much where that comes from. Just know, as long as it's a colony feeding a core world, you're going to lose some to attrition. And then the further away, the more attrition. So like here, if I take this, that's 47% attrition. So you lose, it's saying that sending out 2, 4, 1, 2, but it's going to lose about half of it. So Dalnalton 1, it's going to be, if you hover over this, Dalnalton 1, instead of 2, it's actually 1.07 because of attrition. If you have 100% supply attrition, you get nothing. So in that case, you want to make another core world nearby. And you can choose however you want. Some people like to have a lot of cores, so they core everything. Some people want to core very little. The one thing about cores, though, is if you have every core you have adds 3% crime, and 3% more if you sent a criminal to that world. So you want to balance out on how much you can maintain. So if you go tall, the big challenge for going tall is your crime. And so you'll have to take extra steps to deal with crime if you're going tall. All right, so it was brought up here. I want to cover housing for onyx. So there's different biology types. You have onyx, and Luxar, which are both silicon types. You also have Yor, which is a synthetic. You have a whole bunch of carbon-based factions. Carbon-based has basically natural growth. Silicon has limited natural growth with a kind of a weird growth mechanic. And then you have to manufacture all your pops. And then there's ocean, which I don't actually recall what ocean. I don't think it has anything to do with the growth mechanics. I think it's just natural growth. And then you have ammonia. Ammonia has weird, like basically most factions will lose growth for pollution. Ammonia, you want to stack pollution. They grow the more polluted the colony is. All right, so we have this, and I'll kind of go the growth mechanic for the onyx, and then I'll kind of go through the R stats, and then I'll go to some of the other factions here. So we have the onyx. If you hover over the onyx, you'll get a tooltip, and if you hover over this explains their growth. So onyx have a base growth of 0.4 per month, plus an additional 0.006 Promethean per month. So you take your Promethean, and it doesn't matter. You don't consume Promethean. You just have to have it. So it's you have 5 Promethean in the bank right now. So that is 0.003 or 0.030. I will make lots of math mistakes on stream because I'm thinking too hard about. But so it's where's the onyx? I lost my tooltip. So it's 0.030 since I've in addition to 4 is how that works. So the tooltip also explains, so you don't have to think about it too much, and don't want so you have to pull out a calculator. That once you have 100 Promethean, you have natural growth. Every species get one growth per month. So if you can bank up 100 Promethean, you have natural growth. But if you bank up 266 Promethean, you grow twice as fast as other species. So with the silicon races, you tend to grow slower in the early game, but grow faster in the late game. All right. The other thing with growth is you need to make sure you have enough population here. And there's kind of a bug with silicon, as the crystal core takes many turns to complete, so you actually lose some population with the onyx, unless you rush this. So before you rush it, and this will come up a lot, if you hover over this, you see under the name, here's the name, you'll see it's a population improvement. What that means is if you get population levels, you level up the improvement and then you get the bonus per level. So the first thing with the crystal core is it's a population improvement, and it adds 4 to the pop cap, so you got 3 plus 4, that's 7. And then for every level it adds 1 more. So if I put it over here, it will be 4 plus 3 plus 3 more, so the pop cap will be 10. So we'll rush that. And I forgot this is bugged. Totally forgot. There's an XML error. And they set it up so it's supposed to be plus pop cap, but it's actually plus population. So if it worked right, you should be getting 10 pops, but you don't because it's messed up. There's also, they add these shards of alignment. This is some of the new features with the improvements. You can leave them, or you can destroy them. They appear randomly on the world, and I think it's trying to put 3 down, but it put 1 in a bad spot, so you only see 2. So there's a cut. Silicon races are a little bit bugged right now. All right, so that's, I guess with a bug you have a little bit of a problem early on, because it's supposed to be adding 10 population, but it's not. Okay, so the next thing, and I'm not 100% sure Silicon gets this, you can learn text, and there's planetology. And I think I learned it. Yep, planetology. Yeah, I forgot about the bug. I could have answered that right away. Yeah, the reason why you can't increase is you're supposed to get more pops from this. Now, there's somewhat of a workaround here. Is you can build housing districts. And this is going to sort of go into the next topic that I might do here, is the adjacency rules. So you have, so we know that this is a population improvement, and it adds 3 to all, everything around it. And then for every level, this is bugged. It's supposed to be pop cap, but it's population. There is a fix. Draver has put a fix out for it. We just got to get the devs to put it in the base game. But we won't worry about it right now. It's supposed to be pop cap. So you're kind of stuck building housing districts and using housing districts to stack up. So housing district is also a population improvement. And then it adds 1 level to all, which is an improvement before. Housing districts used to add like population and food. Now you can put these next to anything to add a level. And so that'll feed into the level here. This is a level 3 improvement. If I click on the tile and click housing district, it'll build a district. And how I know to do this is a tooltip that no one ever sees. In fact, I will highlight it up here. Right there. No one ever sees that. It says click on a region to improve with the district. I actually didn't know it myself until Frogboy's like, it's right there. It's like, I've never seen that. So, yes, you can click on a district tile to get a district. Okay, so we have the housing district. And if I were to build this, which I'll have to do out of here, I'll use the finish command. And now it's been built. We can see it's a level 3 district because it's getting 3. It's getting 3. If you see this arrow here, that arrow says it's feeding both ways. So this is feeding 3 population, and the other one's feeding 3 population adjacency levels. Now, don't be confused with population as population cap. It's a population level bonus from adjacency. So let's get this out of here. All right, so if I look over here, it says a population cap of 0.10 per level. So it's a level 3 district because it's getting 3 from the crystal core. And so it's adding 0.03. So if I put more of these, if I build 3 of these, I get an extra population cap in addition to the one that comes from the base effect. You always get the base effect, and then your level bonus affects the population cap. So when you're, what you want to do is kind of build them with these adjacency effects in mind, and find put the proper neighbor bonuses around. Now I'm gonna go in a lot of detail on that pretty quick here. So we have 8 population. We have a diamond here. I'll just do this right now. It should add 2, 3 more. It should be 11. Yes. So we have 11 right here. And that's because you got 1, 2, 3 from the districts. And then you got each one of these is adding a 0.5. Well, roughly. I'm about to go into that right now. So that's how you increase your population. And the location of the tech, some people ask about this, these tech trees will have different names depending on the faction you play. Some of them are lower, some of them they group up differently. I think all the core components, unless it's truly a mechanic that's unique for one faction, one faction or another, has access to everything else. All right, now going into adjacency effects. I explain this a lot. This is always a topic that I get a lot of questions on, like, how do I arrange my colony? So I'm going to go into it. So first thing, and there's a mod that I wrote because I might say that these icons are not recommendations. They will mess up your empire if you follow those icons. Just because this is a influence improvement does not mean you have to put it, which I can't. What? Oh, can they not do influence districts? Interesting. Or did I not do fast unlock? That might be it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so just because it has these icons doesn't mean that, this is an influence district, put that there. That's not always going to be the best. It's guidelines. So it's saying that you have these 2 mountains. What they add is 1 adjacency level. So it adds 1 to research. So it can benefit to batch those up, but not an exclusion of others. If you purely based on what's down here, you're not going to maximize your districts. What you want to do is actually... Oh, I can't destroy that. What you want to do is actually follow a few different patterns. So let's say I was going to build a influence district. Now, it would be a good idea to start on one of these if you can. So if I build this right now, see this little one? It means it's going to add, here, let me get rid of the circles. This one means because it's a mountains, it's going to add 1 influence. So it'll start as a level 1 district. Okay, so I see that's a level 1. All right, now if I build one, or if you look over here, it says adds 2 adjacency levels to everything around it. So if I build on any of these, or we'll build here, I'll add 2 levels from this. If I build, this is an influence district, or an influence tile, I'll actually get 3 from doing that. So then with that, because now it has 2 neighbors feeding 2 more, it's going to be a level 4 district. And now you can see we have a pattern here. We have a triangle. So this pattern will always be a +2 to here, a +2 to here, a +2 to here. So this will add 6 adjacency levels from that pattern alone. If you were to spread this out, none of these would add levels. You know, this one, it'll get 1 from the terrain, obviously, but it's not going to gain, any levels. So you want to kind of make these little patterns. So there's 3 patterns I always follow. Everyone knows about triangles. Build a triangle, or you have triangle. They all add +2. The pattern that I always did is I recognize that, after you get something, well, if you add 1 more tile, you have another pattern. And this one is it has 2 neighbors, so it's a +2, +2. This one has 3 neighbors, so there's +3, +3. And this one has 2 neighbors, so it's a +2. So we have 12 adjacency levels with that pattern. That's a diamond. Okay, continuing on that, we have, I mean, there's all kind of in between patterns, but these are the 3 that I always worry about. And we'll destroy that. This is a wheel, or a hub. So we have a center one that's getting 12 adjacency levels, and then each of its neighbors gets 6 more. This one's getting 7 because it's influence tile. So we got 6 here, 6 here, 12, 6, 6, 6, 6. So 6 times 6 is 36 plus 12, that's 48. Yes, math. 48 levels from here. Now, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be monotyped. You don't have to follow just, because I did all influence districts, you don't have to do that. How this would work in, actually playing around with it here. Let's say we have a infant garden here. So I put that in the center. And let's say we have that's not the right one. This is a wrong color to me. Irrigation network, which I can't build there. This is adding +3 food levels to all of its neighbors. And then we can, of course, I'm doing a food improvement on a mountain world. It's not going to work. Let's do starport. Everyone knows the starport. We have the Durantium processor. Put it next to the starport, and it's going to level up more. This will be higher than 12. So we'll do military district. We'll do prisons, kind of weak. Over here, 3 to all. manufacturing capital, and fusion power plant. So this is a, I actually thought I did better than that. It's a plus 13. What am I doing? Oh, I did this with influence and they give each other 2. Yeah, it's 13 instead of 12. This pattern, that's, jeez. We'll have to trim this up. Let's see. Yeah, so it's not 12. This has 6 neighbors. I'm sorry. This has 6 neighbors. This has 3 neighbors. This has 3 neighbors, but you get my drift. You get these bonuses here. Yeah, and what Bram said a little bit ago here is you can use these districts to actually plan out your whole empire. All right, so we have you can basically make these little patterns. There's also mini patterns in here. So if you look here, this is a circle, wheel, or hub, however you want to call it. But it's also surrounded by diamonds. Down here, these are all diamonds. And it also has triangles. And the reason why it's important, it's you can put pieces, you can kind of put pieces based on the improvement type. And when I'm thinking about, when I'm looking through these improvements, no matter, because they change these things in patches all the time, I kind of think of what's the best what are good improvements for a hub, what's a good improvement for a diamond, and what's a good improvement for a triangle. The general rule is if it adds 1 adjacency level to all of its neighbors, it's a triangle or corner piece. If it adds 2, it's a diamond. If it adds 3, 3, it's a circle. But that's a general rule. It's not a hard fact. There's many factors when I'm looking into how I plan this to keep in mind. So the first example is the starport. Starports are amazing. Starport is it adds 8 military to the everything around it. But I just said 1, 2, and 3. This is a level. This is a one. It's setting out 1 adjacency. This therefore, it's got to be the corner piece for a triangle. No, this is a centerpiece because of the adjacency level bonuses are really good. The higher level you get 8% per level in military, 2% per level. That kind of hurts you, but so kind of think of things in terms of those 3 patterns when you're kind of looking. Look at the level bonus. Look at the adjacency bonus. This is a research one that does 2 everything around it. This is 3 research. That's pretty general. So this is probably one I would put on the corner of a diamond. We have a here's Khazar's mainframe. Khazar's mainframe adds 2, but it's actually one of the higher research bonuses for everything around it. So it tends to be a centerpiece. Let's see. Here we go. This one's a level 3 district. Now, the problem with this Eyes of the Universe is it doesn't have any effects for putting it on a corner here. Or it doesn't have any adjacency level bonus. So you may not want to put this in the center. You'll if you want to optimize it, you can take out a spreadsheet and you can kind of figure out this is going to be 3 or usually about 3% per level. You can kind of look at that, but for the most part, I can tell you that this is not a piece I would put, or this is not going to be, ISO Universe isn't going to be a centerpiece. You're going to put it probably on a diamond. And diamonds have a, oh, I didn't cover this. Diamonds have a property. Now, I did show real quick that this is a 3, this is a 3, this is 2, this is 2. And basically have a narrow side and a fat side. The fat side has 3 neighbors. So we have 3 neighbors, 3 neighbors. The corner of one of these can basically be the hub, and that's where you build around to do the wheel. Let's see. Look at my chat here. Tangential, I find military capped by the fact that a shipyard can only put one. Well, yes, that is true. I will cover a little bit more on shipyards. I think too many people worry about the 1 per turn. It's not as impactful as you want to. It's doesn't hurt you as much. You can use 1 colony and be a warmonger. It's hard, but usually get bigger ships. You just have to worry a little bit more about fleet composition, because if you run into a swarm of fighters, you might not have the logistics to take out. But if you're outputting 1 battleship per turn, it's still a battleship. You know, a swarm of fighters can usually do a number on a single battleship, but they're going to struggle against, you know, you outputting a whole bunch of battleships. You'll still have the advantage. All right, so we have the the base patterns, and I will leave these things on the screen constantly because I forget that I did it. All right, so that's your level bonus, and what all these do is they increase the effects. So why do we care about what's on this part of the screen when I said that this is the most important? And that is where this all comes into play. So you have your inputs. You have your base input, and then it feeds into a process. This is your processors. Yeah, that looks funny. I can't control Z on it. So this is a process, and then this is the output. So you have your input, which comes in here, comes over here and says, okay, let's destroy this stuff here. And we'll just do manufacturing. Okay, so if I hover, I can add this up. This is, you got 8, another 8, another 8. That's 24%. And something will, there's our 24%. So there's other factors into play too here that can affect that. But, basically these improvements are adding up 24%. As you add more and do that, you get higher bonuses. So you have all the bonuses on the screen here. And then for manufacturing, manufacturing is affected by approval. So then you take, all that, you multiply by the approval, and then you get to your manufacturing number. Now, there's way too many factors for me to go through every single effect to get to the output, but you can see it all if you hover over this tooltip for manufacturing. So I have 28, that's my base manufacturing minerals, 10 minerals, and then my productive, it's 10%, adds all my percentages. There's the tooltip's a little confusing because then it goes into what you get from your citizens. All your citizens have stats, and I'll go a little bit more into that in a little second. But, it adds raw production. take all that, multiply by your approval, and then you get your total manufacturing. So the second most important thing actually for manufacturing research is actually your approval. It's more important to boost your approval than it is to boost your manufacturing, because if your approval is like 50%, you're going to lose like half of your manufacturing anyways. All right. Let's see. Okay, so going into different outputs, you have manufacturing. I've already explained that's affected by approval, and then your bonuses over here. Research is the exact same thing. It's affected by approval, and your process bonuses over here. Income. Income's actually very confusing. It's affected by tourism. It's affected by what's over here. It's affected by crime, which is missing. There'd be a crime around there. And your taxes. And then if you hover over this, you'll see all those effects. And there's a formula for that. I can share it afterwards for that. But there's a lot of factors for crime. Food. Food is affected by your farming input and your pollution. So the more polluted your world is, the more you're going to be hurting on food. Influence. Influence is affected by cultural influence. And that's it. All of these. So that's kind of the formulas. I can share those. I was going to put them all in a guide, but there's specific formulas, and so the key takeaways I would say is if you're dealing with manufacturing or research, you want to make sure you boost your approval in most cases before manufacturing. If it's less than 100% manufacturing, it could be like, okay, which is better? But long term wise, usually better boosting your approval. Now, there's a pattern for approval. It's very early on, and I don't think a lot of people realize it. So if I take entertainment districts, we'll do a triangle of entertainment districts. These are all level 2 districts. A level 2 is going to add 2% approval plus 3 for the base one. So each one, that's 15%. If I make a diamond, let's just go in here. This, I believe, is 25%. Approval. Oh, I'm getting tons of it. Entertainment district. I think 29. Did I build on an improvement thing? Oh, of course I built it on there. It's like 25% for this. However, there's one improvement that you get really early on. And if Stardock is ever watching this video, I'm begging to sort this. I don't see it. It's not even color coded. Is it virtual world? No, it's not virtual world. Why am I not seeing it? Because it's back up here. It's in governance. Come down, Universal Hyperwave Radio, Xeno Entertainment, and it's the Holo Theater. If you build a Holo Theater on this corner piece, you get 39% approval for that diamond. But I can't find it, so you just have to take my word for it. Why is this so hard? I'm going to move on because I can't find it. Here, let me do something else. Yeah. Oh, when I said crime is missing, I meant the icon's there because I'm at 0%, and I did a fast unlock, so I got crime and law and policy or whatever it's called. So it's you actually got to fight with the game to get crime, but you get that. All right, so uh, with if you ever use cheats, Control R learns a research, and we'll do Xeno Entertainment. Whole new world. Okay. Oh, what? What color is that? Okay. Might have to. I have some UI feedback. that should be pink outline. Big on the colors. Anyways, make sure I'm not getting. Okay, finish this. You hover over this, you get a huge amount of approval from your entertainment districts. You know, with this pattern, because every neighbor to this, you get 3% per level. There's a reason I can't think of it right now why that's not 9%, but you know, you get a base amount and you get that. You get so that diamond pattern. You know, I basically ingrained in my brain. If I need approval, I make this diamond because I get 39%. I can memorize the fact that uh, a basic pattern like entertainment districts, that's 15%. And then if I have space spare, instead of doing this, which is 25%, I put the Hollow Theater there, which I can build on every planet, calling it unique, and that's 39%. So when I'm thinking of how to use the worlds, I kind of look at I think of the patterns. Okay, so we got that. All right, now we have. I think right now the basic food improvements, and this is why food gets out of control, is the. Oh, of course I build it on a haven. Each food tile right now is doing 10% plus. This is going to be a level 4, so that's 20%. So that's yeah 20. So basically, this pattern here doubles your food uh, right now. Plus, it adds actually a little bit more because each tile adds 1 food. So this is why food is growing exponentially. Don't worry about this number because I have cheats on, so it says 1,000. Oops. But that's kind of the reason why this is just getting completely out of control, is because these numbers are so high that this pattern doubles your food, and then add 1 more and it keeps increasing. And before they fixed it, you could get 1 world have 3,000 food. You'll never need another world than a breadbasket world. Um, so that that's kind of like I think right now, your basic pattern, like I said, doubles your food. So if you want to do a food world, like you'll see these tiles scattered about. Don't do that. Just pick 1 world, put a triangle, and you uh, can go quite a bit into the game. So I could put this here and this here, but that's not going to be that high of a level. You get, this because of adjacency bonuses actually doubles your food. So that's why I say ignore the little icons. Okay, so we've gone over that crime. Let's do FOD. Every colony adds 3% crime, unless you put a criminal there. I might be able to get the random number generator to put criminals. Just do this. I might have one. No, I didn't get one. But basically, it's either a +3 or +6. If you colonize the colony with a criminal, it's +6. Otherwise, it's +3. So if you're having trouble with crime, it means you have a lot of colonies feeding into the core. So the easiest way to handle crime is add more core worlds. It divides the crime up. You can add different bonuses. You can add prisons and stuff like that. You get more out of it by splitting it up. Okay. Planetary defense. Pollution. This is another one that comes up a lot. You get a lot of questions on Steam, especially. I have way too much pollution. And let's learn a few more techs. Navigator. And I can say, when you're having trouble with pollution, here's your problem. A lot of people learn pretty early on, starports are amazing. And then you surround it with districts. Every district adds 2% pollution. Every adjacency level to a starport adds 2% pollution. So right now I have 9% pollution. We'll do this first, like this. So if I add one manufacturing district, I have 11%. If I add a starport, I have 23%. So now you're like, well, what do I do about pollution? Well, first thing you can do is you can go to your orbitals and you can build a atmospheric cleanser. And this will remove 20% pollution. However, if you're painting this map with manufacturing districts and other things that actually increase it more than manufacturing districts, you're going to run into problems. I wonder if that's enough. It's not. Let's take this out and let's add a few more. There we go. That should be enough. Now there's a threshold here. If you get over 50% pollution, you will get an event. And this event is not to give you cool, fun stuff. You'll get an event that says you can do, basically spend a bunch of money and you will lower your pollution. You can, there's a few other things, but then there's a solution said, do nothing. And you get nothing. And I will see some people be like, well, why would I choose anything other than do nothing? Well, if you don't respond to that event, you get worse events, and it's the plague. And plague pretty much cripples your planet for 10 turns. So if you're getting plague, it's because your pollution is too high, and you didn't respond to or you didn't, you get a little warning. I think you always get the warning. I don't recall, but the reason why you get those events the way you do is because it's warning you, like, hey, your pollution's really high. You need to do something about this. And if you continue, just keep it high, then you get the plague event, and then that cripples your production worlds by a lot for a little while. So that's what that is. Now, pollution also affects your approval. Every colony is different. This one probably doesn't even. Yeah, this one does not even appear to be affected. Oh, yeah, it's not affected by it. A bear attack one loses 1% approval for every point of pollution. I think the other one loses about half that. So, how do I deal with pollution? First thing is just delete stuff. You can watch the number; it'll go down. That's one way you can do it. Like I said, you can do the atmospheric cleanser. You could go down and research They move this every single time I look for it. I think it's under colonization. Where is it now? Oh, maybe I'll get. I might not get it for Baratech. Anyways, there's a technology chain. I think it's up here. Uh, that will remove it. It's a problem about just picking a random civilization and do these tutorials. Is I haven't relearned all of who has what. They changed them all, so I picked one that doesn't have the particular tech that I'm looking for. Yeah, it's not here. But there's different techs, there's different policies. Another thing you can do, you can really, uh, some people look at this one, like land exploitation, and they're like, this thing sucks. However, uh, you get like 5 gross income. And I haven't gone in income. It's probably a good time to go through that now. But this is actually one of the early ways to get a whole lot of credits very easily. By building this. You're going to slow yourself down, so you don't want to leave it running. Unless you're ammonia. If you're the cosmic containment, start that on turn one. It increases your growth. But let's see here. But yeah, you get a whole bunch of pollution for that. But you also get wealth, and the wealth is comes in here. It's a flat number. So if you have a lot of finance districts and you get your finance level to boost this up, turning that on can give you thousands of credits. Well, not thousands, but a lot. You can gain a lot of credits for that. Wealth is special though. And let's grab another colony. Let's start up here. Colonize. By the way, if anyone else has questions, feel free to ask. Let's see. Onyx, you're saying Onyx might have something that drives crime down? That's a possibility. I haven't played Onyx forever. No, they don't seem to have anything that lowers it. It's still 3 and doesn't look like it have any effect. Yeah, you will not probably have crime issues until you get a lot of uh, colonies. All right, so we'll sign a governor here, and there's so many ways to optimize colonies. This is gonna be a long video. Anyway, so we colonize another world. Yeah, if you have a lot of colonies feeding into a core world, you're gonna have crime issues. But I don't know why you would see. There's Onyx don't have anything. Well, wait a minute. Is it a policy? What does without slumber do? Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think Onyx had anything special for crime. They may have a lower chance of getting criminals, because that's based on the citizen type. All right, so finance districts. Let's see. Did I learn? I didn't learn all the texts. Finance stuff is. Finance districts are actually pretty complicated. There's a lot of factors. So you have your basic district that you can do, and they're actually pretty good. They add 3% gross income, which is actually, you take whatever's number, divide by 3, because I'll explain that in a little bit, but it's based on taxes. So you actually don't always get this amount unless you increase your tax a certain way. But basically, you have your finance districts, and then I don't even think I added trade network. If you go to they change this stuff so much. Where's the Oh, trade networks is way down here now. Okay. All right, so you have your basic one, and then you have this colony unique. Put that there, and you basically want to boost your percentile bonuses for this as much as possible. Okay, that we understand because that's how everything else goes. But that's not where. So finance districts, they get the wealth bonus, you know, from all their inputs. That's the same as everything else too. But they also have this uh, unique. They also get bonuses from tourism, and they made a change right now. Is your capitals, except for the ones that are broken, uh, always get tourism. God, there's some goofiness. Not sure if I might publish the video or not. Um, so you have your social, you have your tourism, and you'll first unlock tourism early on. I think it's high. They change this now. You get like the governance. I believe this. You unlock the tourism minister very early on. Universal translator, so you can play with it right away. So let's do that. We'll do it, Mister. These icons. This is a green icon, so it uses social skill. Drop that in there. 10% tourism. Now, what does that mean? Tourism, you take all your entire influence borders. And we will mod stats, influence. I think that's enough. Let me do a turn. I want big influence border. That was not the stat. Whatever. Good enough. Anyways, it's you count all the tiles here. And don't worry, you don't have to sit there and count. It actually does it for you. If you go to the data bank and go stats, it says controlled parsecs. So what tourism does is it takes this number and it's roughly a cube root of that number for the tourism base level bonus. So if you look at this, what this is it takes you count all your tiles, and you got your own galaxy bonus. You can just look there, and then you take a cube root of that, so it's 6.23. Every colony will that will be how that's affected, or it takes that. Then it takes your minister bonus. It's a little confusing here. This is a flat number. This is actually a percentile number. So your tourism bonus is your minister and then plus any tourism improvements, and every colony can boost their tourism separately. But you don't get the 6.23 because I'm only getting 10% of it, so I get 0.6. But if I had 100%, then I would get 6.23. That is the same. This number, what this number calculates to, adds to your wealth input. So your wealth input is 4.6. It's not 4, it's 4.6 because it adds your tourism bonus. Then it takes all your multipliers. And then, because the formula is really funny, the multipliers, let's say you have, 1 second. Where's my screen? Moving the wrong thing. So we have our multipliers. Let's just say for convenience this is 100%. It's going to subtract 9% because that's your crime. Now if you had 100% crime, it'd be 100% minus 100%. And you can't go in negatives with that formula, but that's how that works. Yeah, tourism makes money by pushing out influence. I'll explain culture basis Yeah, that's a whole section of this video too, is explaining the culture. There's a reason why it had to be nerfed the way it did. This is part of it, but there's a few other reasons. Anyways, so you take 100% minus 9%, and this is 91%. So that's your bonus. So you take, which is not the number that I pulled up here. How much did I get for wealth? I wish they would group these up. I don't want to sit there and do all that math. Or I don't want to take a calculator and add all these up right now. Um, anyways, take the tourism bonus, wealth bonus, add together, multiply by the percentage from what's on your processes, your planet, minus the crime. And then you come over here and you take that number and you look here what the tax rate is. So if you set it to low, you get 10% of your total income. If you set it to medium, you get 25%. Or sorry, normal, you get 25%. Medium, you get 33%. High, you get 50%. And um, max, you get 75%. You'll never get 100% of your wealth bonus. But that's also a reason why wealth numbers tend to be a lot higher. It's because it's actually kind of assuming you're going to be at medium. So you get lower, lower out or less out of it that way. There's also, since we're in here, wealth is it has a few more factors. The GDP is what you get from your colonies, and this is your tax rate. If you had trade routes, that's pre-tax. So you get so let's say you get 10 in trade routes and you have 33%, you get, 3.3 credits. Um, the one thing I've brought up to Frog Boy is I think it's also giving you a percentage of your Diplo, whatever you negotiate with the AIs on. I don't know if they change that, but that's also taxed too, and that part I don't agree with. But the reason why you don't get all the money from the trade routes and everything is because that's the GDP. That's how much you're getting from all the sources, but that's not what the government gets to take home with. It's all based on your tax rates. So if you want to uh, get a lot of bonuses from trade routes and wealth, you want to do taxes. And I will 100% say, and if you actually build up a your tax improve or your wealth improvements and actually get into the taxes, it is 1,000 times better than the preferred favorite of where is it? Treasure hunts. These are garbage. They are absolute garbage. They don't even pay for themselves. You're giving up 300 in construction cost, and you take that number and you multiply it by 7.5, which is the rush buy. That's how I'm going to figure it out. You're basically giving up 2,000 credits to gain a chance of getting it back. So these are, if you need quick money, do a treasure hunt. But if you base your entire economy off of it, like one really big wealth world can give you 1,000 credits by itself. And there's so many ways of increasing it, especially once you get into later game when you get the big influence borders. Uh, you want to do wealth and tourism if you want credits. All right, so that's all the elements of wealth. Let's see. Let's go into influence is like a whole video in itself, but I might cover in this one. And as usual, I do not organize my videos. I don't sit here and plan out how I'm going to talk on them. I just talk and I ramble. and that's just how I do things. So I think anyone who watches a lot of my videos realize this is how I operate. So if you happen to get this far in and just now didn't notice it, that's why. All right, planetary defense is one of the things, and I'll kind of go on to a slightly different topic. Well, I got a few more things here, but not too much. Almost done with this screen here. So, planetary defense. Uh, I'll cover briefly that you should hover over the tooltip, and it'll tell you how they affect you. Every point of resolve adds to your planetary defense. So this is 3, and I don't know how it gets to 13, but it does. But oh no, it's 3. Yeah. So you get some for population count, some for colonists. So the bigger the colonies, the taller you are, the higher defenses. So if you're trying to defend against the AI, first thing I would say is how many pops are you if you have like one population on the planet and they have low resolve, it'll probably get invaded. Now you can, which I don't have unlocked, you can make them a soldier, which gives them a lot better. Let's see. So we got our soldier here. So I have 113, from the resolve. If I make this person into a soldier, it's not that much because I only have one, but you can you take that resolve and you further increase your planetary defense. That's crime. That's still crime. So for every point of resolve, you get 2 points of planetary defense. So if the AI is coming at you, um, they'll probably almost always get your colonies pretty easily. You don't need much to take a colony, but you want to boost your core worlds and boost things that build planetary defense. That's really the only part there. There's other, the size of the planet also affects the planetary defense. There's a lot of factors into it, but I just want to, cover that it's coming from the resolve and how many citizens you have. All right, this part of the screen, this is just showing you all the colonies if you want to cover over it. If I build a shipyard, some people ask what this number is. It's the it's how many sponsors. So if you play GalCiv 3, you're used to sponsors, and everyone that asks, the reason why you don't see sponsors is you're it's getting sponsors from all the colonies. It's actually getting more than it did in GalCiv 3. It's just in GalCiv 3, you could it really was not the best idea to actually have a lot of shipyards. Like you can basically have as many shipyards as you should in GalCiv 3. There's there's a few exceptions. All right. I don't recall. I think I brought this up on tooltip. Hey, that thing tells you to click on tiles to get districts. I think I covered it earlier, but since I'm over there, I want to cover it. Build queue. See this number here, the stored goods. Well, where that came from is if you build something and you didn't use all the build points, it goes into stored goods. You also get stored goods from supply ships. And this can be built for the next project, and they keep accumulating and accumulate. The only time they'll accumulate is if you build the stimulus project, which uses your stored goods. But nothing, nothing in research, manufacturing, or shipyard production is lost. You don't have to min max. You don't have to worry about trying to get perfect outcomes. It's all retained. Um, there's some UI bugs with research, and I can briefly cover that, but there's that. All right, so we got this part of the screen here. Shipyards. I covered that this is your sponsors. You get one for the core world, and then two. It has 2 colonies. It's a +2. This number is uh, hopefully they fix it. I think they might fix it. It doesn't always match what's on the next screen, but this is your manufacturing, and then this green number What that is that's saying how many ships are garrisoned. The only thing you really care probably is the ship manufacturing totals. Let's see. So plant store goods, as they're showing, yes, they do. They do actually show up for shipyards. Let's go into it right now. Shipyard stored goods is going to be, if I hover over this with this build queue empty, it'll show you the total. So let's go into an older save. This is one of those UI things that I've been asking for a while because no one knows that it's there. That the stored goods are for manufacturing, and this tends to be the leading argument for some people with the cores and colonies, or sorry, they want planet sponsors back, and it's because they think they have to optimize it. Really, I picked the one that doesn't have it. Let's do this one. Might. So if you hover over this with a blank queue, that's where the gotcha is. You can see how many stored goods. It needs to be right here, but so nothing is lost. Yeah, no one knows that tooltip's there. You'll run into it on accident, and that's how you find out. But yeah, that's there. Research actually on the same vein. There's another UI thing with it. If you complete a research project, do I have one of these artifacts? It'd be awesome if I have this artifact. Pressure scientists. So let's say you use pressure scientists, which wasn't enough to complete the tech. If you go to the research screen, if sometimes actually you'll see the bar for research go up when you use like pressure scientists, and that's a UI glitch. Also, if you exit the research screen, which I'll show you in a little bit, and go back in, it'll update to the correct value. And when it updates, you also might learn text that you could have unlocked that turn, but you didn't realize it. Let's see. Fast unlock. Actually, I want to do, let's see, mod stat. Oh, I can't click. Mod stat. Culture points. Let's just do 1,000. Okay. Oh, did I do fast one? I didn't mean to do that. Dang it. Yeah, I answer people on that research thing all the time. It was mine because I am constant like especially the bar goes up. There's some glitchiness with the research screen. But you could like some people are like, oh, you can't learn more than one tech per turn. Nope, not true. You just need to know the trick. So we'll do that trick right now. Culture points. There's a, oh, I probably didn't do that right. Does not have given stat. Okay, so if you go on progressivism, you get like Eureka, and then what's the next one? Is it breakthrough? Let's do breakthrough and quantum leap. So if you get this, if I click on the screen, now it says 7 months remain. They're like, well, what gives? I'm supposed to have like 1,000 research. Well, if you click on the screen again, you'll learn the tech because it'll apply the research. If you go in here and we'll do Xeno research, go in there, I've just learned the tech. If I go in here, I learn the tech. Here, learn the, So you can keep it. It's keeping track of all the research points, but the UI doesn't update it. Nothing's lost if you go through the whole thing. Like if you go through like 10 turns, you will still get all your research, but you could learn them all in one turn. There you go. And now the screen updates, and this will happen too. Is if you have points, you have to go in here, come out, and then it'll update. See, it was at 51. I went in there, went out. Now it's at 20. So this is that's the research glitch. All right, back to here. Improvements. There's some artists that me and this art. There's a artist I want to fight, and the artists they don't understand that the reason why these were color coded for a reason, and they keep wanting to make it pretty. So it this becomes more like if you watch how long it took me to find the Hollow Theater, it's because it's supposed to be pink, but it's just some random, they colored it a random color because it looks prettier, but I I want everything to be the colors, because this is UI, the UI UX stuff like that. For the most part, though, all your research stuff will be color coded. I have some requests as far as how this is organized, but I'll do it later. Down here is projects, and to talk about projects, I am going to switch now to talking about your. I don't play the your much. Yeah, I'm going to see if there's a way of modding the order. I think that they just do a flat order and just reads from a tree. Um, UI stuff tends to get hard to get through because the engine that they create, I guess, makes it really difficult for them to make changes to the UI. Like getting this combat rating or this total attack took me like 6 months of begging and pleading and creating chaos on the forums about because I guess it was problematic. So, all right. So with what happened? Why did they make it so your don't start with their manufacturer population thing right now? Now I feel really dumb. It's I might have found a bug. What? The heck? Is it because... Oh, it won't show up unless you have room for them. Gotcha. That confused me. Then the economic stimulus disappeared. Okay, that's... Oh, it's right here. It's the other bug. Okay, so my apologies. I didn't realize you have to have space to put them. It makes sense. Uh, yeah, there's quite a few. So this screen's really bad about updating. So what you asked is like you're losing color coding or things go gray. Um, yeah, what there's for some reason the screen doesn't properly update or stuff will be hidden. Like especially happens when you got multiple colonies. Let's go back. No, I'll come back to that point. But it's basically if you use the arrow keys or use the keys up here to switch between your colonies, uh, the improvements will disappear. Some of your citizens will disappear. They're still there. It's just a bug. Okay, so the your gets manufactured population. Now this is the one of those confusing tooltips, and let's walk through this. So if I build a your right now, it's going to take 17 turns. It's based on my manufacturing rating here. So let's add some. Oops. Let's add some manufacturing. Let's go. I seem to have missed one. Oh, it's this one. Okay, so we got the supply depot. We'll do the razor's lift. We'll do some of this. We'll get some. So it's 17 turns. It's because you have to manufacture your population, and it's 120. Now this gets a little dicey here. So you need 2 Durantium to manufacture your population, and then you get this weird number. And I believe they got to update this tooltip. This construction cost, I believe, is based on how many you might have, or I think it goes up as you. What I think I'm trying to point out is the number gets a little crazy. So it's 9 turns right now to build it. So basically, for you spend 2 Durantium and you get this production cost. I might actually look at this afterwards. The how this number, this tooltip, I think is just the way it's laid out is really confusing. Um, but you basically have to build all your population. Is all I really came here to do. So with the your, what you want to do is unlock use extreme automation, and this used to be better, and I don't know why they nerfed this, because the whole point of extreme automation is it gave you some leeway to, because you're going to have to slow down your production or your planetary production to build more your. But so you just got to basically throw in inside of your production queue more of that. So that's the projects. Another thing in here, and I didn't cover this because we come up this districts. So what is this doing? In GalCiv 3, you had factory, improved factory, mega factory. You had all these upgrades, and you basically built a factory, then you had to build the upgrade. So instead of doing all that, because that was annoying, you can level the districts. These only apply to districts. And what it does is it adds to the level bonus of the district. So early on, districts are fairly weak, but as you unlock the upgrades, they can be really powerful, and they can be some of the strongest improvements when you get all the way up. Because by gaining a level 5 district, each district is like 10% manufacturing just from the district upgrades themselves. So you try throw these in whenever you can. I think you do the first, like, if you could do it pretty quick without slowing down your production, fit in there. But don't don't upgrade districts. If I only have one, there's no point. But if I get a good number of them, you can get more. Let's say I had 5 of these. Every time I build this upgrade, that's 10% production, which may be more than what you get from the buildings. So kind of keep that in mind, with districts. And they fix these, so I would say the most important. I mean, obviously, just like earlier I was saying, approval is probably the most important thing to upgrade as soon as you can, and uh, you'll probably get most of your upgrades from approval districts. Try get around. You don't have to hit 96%. You can hit 80% is fine. Uh, if you're at 96% with all your colonies, you'll want to increase your taxes. All right, so that's this screen. I've been on the screen for quite a while here. Oh, and I didn't cover citizens. Citizens, they all can have jobs. Let's get this fast unlock. So citizens have some stats here, and you'll see these stats as far as all citizens leaders have the same stats, and it's a random number from 3 to 10. Actually, I think it's 3 to 6 for citizens and 3 to 10 for leaders. So it does this, and then it has modifiers. So you get modifiers from different perks. Races have different modifiers, so robots don't have the greatest social skills, so it's a -2 there. So these are pretty balanced as far as what. But if you find there was a post I was responding to that they're like, oh, are all these leaders garbage for this race? Well, yeah, if you're it was Festrad, which have mostly -2 to every stat. It's a random number, but then it's affected by the modifiers. So you'll find certain races are better in certain areas than others, but there is advantage to mix and matching. I had one game that I did when it released 2.0. My race had very low intellect, but then I got Torian, so then I added Torian's Pirate to my research world to boost my research. So you can mix and match citizens. You can actually do a lot of min maxing using citizens than you may realize. And citizens grow based on they're affected by pollution, but they have a base growth. There won't be here because this is not a growing civ, but they have a base growth when the growth, whatever this number is, gets to this number here, it grows. Now, if you this second number here is based on how many citizens you have. So if you were to reduce the population on the planet, like put them on a colony ship, your planets will grow faster. So it can pay early on to put people on colony ships, even if it's just right outside for a few turns to actually boost your citizens up. Yeah, Alteria gives, if I recall, Alterans have some really good stats. Now, the same stat bonuses apply to their leaders. This one has a few more. Wow, this one rolled a perfect 10. So you have your 10 plus your bonus, which is +1, and then your other ones. Yeah, I'm probably going to get nerfed somehow. I don't know how they would do it, but uh, I think I'm probably going to get. It's going to end up getting nerfed, I think, at some point. I hope not. But the parking colonies outside. I think Frogboy's starting here, but it's just like because part of it is I don't know why he increased the recruitment center to 20, and now it's like I'm swimming in population. I was like, this does not feel right. But I guess it was something that was bothering him, so he increased it. But I think he's going to look at it this weekend because everyone's saying no, it was way too high. All right. Let's see. That's all that. Actually, something that comes up a lot. How many orbital slots do you get? It's actually very predictable. It's based on your planet type. Barren will give you 2. So if I find another barren planet, this is a frozen world. This is going to give 2. All the barren planets will give you 2. Um, this is a, I don't know what that is. A boreal world gives you 2. Volcanic worlds give you 2. Frozen worlds, I believe, give you this. Oh, this is thin atmosphere. You get 1. So that's where these numbers come in. These ones give you 4, but I think he uses 1 for its bonus. This is going to give you bombard gives you 1. So the orbital slots is based on the planet type, the climate. It's not random. So you can kind of get, as you play around, you'll start seeing like patterns. Like I could almost zoom in here and be like, okay, well we have, that's probably a bad example because that's a precursor elevator, precursor factor, I mean. But I could look here. It's like, oh, I have volcanic world. I potentially have more manufacturing. It's random, and then I know I have a couple orbital slots. So I could go here. You could sort of see it. I usually just hover over this and you see what these numbers are. But you can see like this, and these numbers are random, but they fit certain patterns. Volcanic world has a range for each of the stats that it can do. So if you want like I know if I see like a paradise world, which I probably won't see one right now, fast and law or WNC. If I find like a research world, I know that it's going to have this is tropical. Tropical actually, this is a terrible tropical world. It just had to spite me. I don't want to explain this. That's actually tropical. Actually, can have nice culture, but that one's garbage. Let's see what we have here. Barren worlds. Yeah, none of these is going to fit the pattern. But find look for paradise worlds. Look for tropical worlds. Actually, tropical might be wealth. I could be misremembering. All right. That's that. Back to leaders here. These stats affect the planet, in certain ways. So, um, these numbers are blood, but basically, your intelligence is a research modifier for the planet it's tied to. The most important ones for your planet is going to be your social because it increases approval. Diligence increases your manufacturing, and intelligence increases your research. But I'd say like when you're want to know who to put onto your worlds, you want to put the highest social governor if at all possible. There are exceptions. The exceptions are going to be like what traits that they have. So let's go. Oh, I've done that. Let's go into here. Invite leaders, which is amazing. So if you get a lot of leaders, you can hover over these and you can look at different traits. Peacemaker, this is a diplomat trait, and it makes it less likely to declare war. I think it's a bonus diplomat modifier. I could be wrong on that. Some of these, this one, so this be a good one for research world because it's 10 intelligence plus they get 30% research bonus. Now they have a little problem with loyalty. And if I put them on the governor, they'll run away with my planet. So I want to give them a harmony crystal to increase their loyalty. You never want to go below 30. And you'll lose 10 just put them on the world. So you never want to put a governor below 40 unless you have a harmony crystal to gift them right away. And that's very important. Just make sure you never go below 30. 30 is fine. But and there's actually another effect. The loyalty is going to give an approval bonus of 20% if if the governor's loyal. For the governor, the influence modifier is from social, I believe. Yes, social. So this governor 18, it looks like it's half of your social score. So loyalty is really important for governors. I just wish they made it more important for the other. The only other one that I think it uses is commanders, because if your loyalty goes below 30, they'll run away with your commandership. So never put a governor that has below 30 loyalty. They'll steal your ship. Um, this actually also affects them. You have your factions, which you unlock with the governance. Factions unlock with the oh, this is really weird. It's the is it I think it's hyperwave radio. They may have moved this. I it'll tell you. I forget. It's not showing up there in that tooltip. But it'll say, and they don't unlock at the same time. But take a look at these factions, and with this screen here, these numbers get a little confusing. So first thing, it's based on your faction favor. The higher the favor you have, which is as you respond to events and you get those like +1 to progressive, plus whatnot, that adds to this effect. And then this factors into how good these bonuses are. The other thing is each stat has two stats it's affected by. So for singularity, it says, okay, research increases based on intelligence, maintenance based on social. What this means is you want to put the leader with the highest of the good stats into the good field and the lowest of the other stats. So this is a good one for here because it's not going to pump up my social or my maintenance that much. So it's a good leader put there. So there, you can sort it. I mean, sometimes you just stack them all in one area if you want to do it, but you can actually min max on the screen quite a bit. You have so you can read through these and this, but these all impart bonuses onto the colonies. Yeah, I would say for governors, make sure you at least have 40, is what Bram's saying. Make sure you at least have 40 so they don't run away with your planet. But ideally 50, 60, as much loyalty as possible. No, it's yeah, it's high stat in the positive field and low stat in the negative. Let me see if I can find. I have a leader that can show this. Social intelligence. What? I'm bringing up this frog boy. It increases maintenance based on intelligence, but increases precursor relics based on intelligence. Oh, it's not much of a difference to see. Let's try this one. Diligence and intelligence. Okay, so let's see if I see a difference here. That's minus 2.4, and that's minus 2.1. So you get a lower penalty for your lower intelligence. Yeah, there's some of these, and I everyone can blame me for free mind center because I managed to show that you get 100% tourism with free mind center pretty quickly. But the way he chose to fix it, I don't agree with. He you I want I like to make sure that they don't increase and decrease like the same value. Yeah, I like Freebind Center, but they changed it. It used to increase tourism based on your social, and then decrease ship range, I think, based on intelligence. So he changed it to maintenance, but it doesn't make sense that that's maintenance because you're increasing your wealth generation through tourism, but you're increasing your maintenance. So it's now maintenance isn't that big of a deal right now, but you're offsetting with the exact same value. Um, so there's some of these I unfortunately there a lot of people don't even know the screen exists. So it's not a huge priority to change, but there like some of these might actually make a mod to go through these and make these better. But just know the screen's here. You can do a lot of stuff. You can get a huge bonuses here on the screen, especially like this one. This is not nothing to sneeze at because these bonuses can really add up. Like normally uh, like a relic. Here we go. This approval relic. If I build a starbase here, I think it's a plus. It's a point 0.1. It's like 1% approval per relic. Well, if I add a point 0.02, that ends up being 3%. I think is how the math works on that. So you get like that makes this faction, this precursor heirs, much better when you get a bunch of relics unlocked. Provided it's not bugged. I don't know if it is or not. Okay, so we got all that, and now we talk about starbases. The one that I complain about all the time. Starbases are actually amazing. However, uh, I've had a long battle about starbases that I will apologize for this one too, because I think some of the things I show that you can break with starbases gets really funny approaches to nerfs. Um, so my fault. Anyways, I won't go into too much detail except for the economic and the communication starbase, mining starbases, and military. Military is kind of covered in the other one. Plus, it's broken, completely broken right now. There's no point in ever building a military base unless you want to volley everything around, everything else you can get from the other starbases. Economic starbases gives you modifiers to this. Um, there's almost no reason to build an economic starbase unless you want to build a lot of them. It's not really that powerful to pay for itself. The other one, the influence starbase, um, actually has two uses, and some people know about the first one, and most don't know about the second one. Let's see, hotkeys. Okay, so influence starbases have two effects. They boost the colony's influence, and they boost their own influence by a lot. Uh, you might be right on the slowing effect for military, but yeah, it's a mess right now. But yeah, so back to your influence. It has its own influence area and an effect that imparts onto the colony, and both are useful for different purposes. So we'll start with the one that everyone knows. Is we'll build a culture district and add the bonuses. And then if you look here, you can see those bonuses apply to, yeah, this is what you get from the starbase, based on the tiles. Or, how boosted. And I don't have everything unlocked right now. but you can boost this. It's like over 100%. It used to be like 400%. I was like, that's way too much. So it's been nerfed, and so it adds a modifier like a district, anything like that. Everyone knows about that. The other effect is it has its own. All star bases generate influence, so and it's actually a fair amount. You can flip a lot. Like I read post after post after post. Like you can't flip colonies with star bases, and it's like that's 100% not true. I'm gonna get a drink of water, and then I'll go into why that's not true. Oh yeah, that nerf for influence star bases needed to happen. 1 second. Plus, I added a +4, so it exponentially got stronger and stronger and stronger every time you had an influence starbase suit. It got nuts. And then you get everyone saying, "Oh, influence is too easy," because they're all building influence starbases. Even one was so strong that you could take like your entire sector with one. So, but yeah, I really like influence starbases because I like engaging with the tourism mechanic. All right, so influence. Now I'll explain how this works. So you can put influence anywhere. Now, first thing, if you put influence where its area of effect is around an AI, they're going to get annoyed because they know you're trying to flip their colony, and you can do it. But let's build. Oh man, allergies starting to kick in. Can can I do a one? Yeah, again, sweet. Okay. So let's say an AI takes your world that you were trying to get. You know, they beat you to it. Yep. Yeah, I'll explain that. Um, so AI got to your world before you. Well, and there's no penalty for flipping a colony. There's penalty for flipping cores. Um, and the reason, and I made a big stink when they added the penalty in the first place because it completely hurts your tourism game if if you're putting influence on a bunch of stuff accidentally and go like I would go to war just from playing with tourism. And I was just like, okay, this is dumb. This is really stupid. So they made it so it's only the core worlds that you're trying to flip, which makes sense to me. If you're trying to flip their core world, then you should get a dipple penalty, but it's not too bad. Anyways, so AI beats you this world. Now, if you come to the planet here, you can't see this, and this is one of the things I wish they would change. But if I go to list stat and come up here, there's lots of stats. Influence tally. This colony only has 10 influence. So if I were to take a constructor and I build a communication starbase, ideally right next to the colony, but if you can't do it, then the closer the better. They radiate out a range. But you'll notice that the influence starbase itself has 20. So if you, I should have built this. Yeah, I can move it closer because I'm playing with cheats. Um, So right now I have 20 influence on my influence starbase. And I need a turn update here. There we go. So if you put a influence starbase around right away, you immediately put the colony in rebellion. It's not a strong rebellion, but it's rebellion the same. And so I'll kind of explain it. So basically, all the asteroids, the colonies, cores or colonies doesn't matter, and star bases all generate influence, and it's a beacon. So this uh, the centerpiece, which I can get here, that's 30 influence. So that's 30. If I hold down the control key, I can see one hex out is 16. See, it's always 16. One hex out is 16. The other hex out is 8.6. There's actually a formula, which I have, 5.7. Now, because this colony has only generated, it's probably 11 influence, and I'm putting out 16. I've covered the colony in my influence area, and I'll continue to do so. So if you put these around, and so if I were to go one hex out, I wouldn't immediately put in rebellion because I'm only generating 8.6, that far out. So if you want to flip a colony, put as close as possible. Now, where these can get really strong is if you add the influence. I don't know if these are. Yeah, each of these adds plus 10 more to the influence growth. So you can flip the colonies very easily. And how this mechanic works is there's I think it's like 500 rebellion points. Or maybe 200. And the I I'm a little fuzzy on how the rebellion points are accrued, but basically the higher this number, like see is 1.3x, the more rebellion points you get. And once you get maximum rebellion points, you flip the colony. So by putting putting this around here now, it probably won't update till the next turn. If I were to move this culture starbase, which is not possible except for cheats, uh, this circle should move up here. We'll see if that happens. Should be up here. Yes. So the circle is tied to whatever's on the or wherever the influence source is. So if an AI is taking over your planets, you need to find out which one is feeding into it, and you can do that by it's usually your core worlds. Hover over it, and then hover over the influence, and you want to take over the colonies that are generating the most influence that you can. And you can see a radius, but that. So if you let's see, sensor. Yeah, there's actually a few that feed into this. Sensor modules adds influence growth. Now it gets confusing because sometimes they'll say it and it actually means colony influence growth, but it's just the colony modules that do that. The personal one comes from the sensors and the defense system, and I think that might be it. So if you like, so a culture starbase you can take over, and then every point, every turn, it will keep accumulating. So when you're flipping colonies, when you put this out, you take over tiles. Now back to the tourism thing, sometimes it's good just put a culture starbase in the middle of nowhere and just take blank tiles to boost your influence. Um, the other thing, like I like to do culture star bases. Like, let's say I want this cluster, but I don't think I'll get to it for a while. Like I won't get a colony ship. Um, let's just say I built it over there instead.
A new generation has been born.
So let's say the AI stumbles in and they're like, oh, I'm gonna just take this colony here. Well, guess what? I'm gonna flip it, and I'm already accumulating influence. I'm building it up, and they have to get their colony past the threshold. Otherwise, I'm gonna flip it. So if you put culture star bases in areas you want to plan for in the future, you automatically you'll flip it when the AI takes it over. Um, yeah, you don't need to carpet the sector. There's thresholds. Um, I could cover it, but yeah, basically early in the game, build a culture starbase on areas that you want to plan to expand to, and this is why I also like. I think Frogboy was talking about like, oh, I want to make it so you just need to put, if you'll just population will just show up on any of these plants here. I was like, no, 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 let's not do that. You already get that effect because the first AI is going to probably eventually get the great idea to settle on these colonies, and it doesn't cost you a colony ship. That effect's already in the game. They don't need to do the other. Um, influence districts. You can do this here. It's also good to put them around asteroid fields, especially like white stars. Um, but even military, like all the star bases generate a lot of influence. Culture star bases generate even more. So you can build a military starbase around a white star, and you get the effect of having a military starbase. But they still generate, if you tech them up right, they'll still generate a good deal of personal influence to hold the sector. They will not keep up to a planet, but they will help you claim like asteroids and stuff like that. All right, now let's see. There's actually more on influence. Let's see. I talked about flipping. I talked about oh, colonies. So colonies, core worlds get the most influence. Colonies get the least, and I don't know where asteroid fields. I think they're about the same as colonies. Um, Colonies, I think, only get 1 point of influence, but uh, core worlds and colonies store their influence. You can't destroy core colonies, so you can't destroy the source. However, if I were to destroy a starbase, that's giving me trouble, which won't happen until next. This in the actual game, it'll I think update fairly. No, it won't. It's actually delayed. So if AI's invading, destroy their starbase. Influence is tied to the object that's its source. So the asteroid field, the asteroids flip very easily. If they even get 1 point, they flip to the other side. But when the source is gone, the influence is lost immediately. Um, but colonies and core worlds, because you can't delete them. Well, okay, you can use a Terra Star and delete them, but short of that, they store the influence. Even if the world is conquered, it doesn't lose the influence tied to it. I think it loses a little bit, like a percentage, but it doesn't. It retains most of it for whoever conquers it. So culture starbases around core worlds can really boost up the influence gain per turn. But now, what was recently nerfed is you can't just put like 40 star bases and then get a plus 40 modifier plus all the bonuses. They removed that because that was getting out of control. That was probably one of the biggest arguments about starbase stacking. It was like I mean, you could very quickly take over sectors with like three, even one influence starbase was too strong. You get a few of those, and you can take over the whole sector. The AI wouldn't respond to it. So they boost this up, but you want to first make sure you're only boosting up wherever you can get high cultural input, and you can do that either by whatever's on the base planet, or you can build the culture beacons. And I can't find it right now. Beacon, beacon, beacon. I don't see it. Have I not done cheats? On this one? Let's see. I don't know why I can't find it right now. Let's colonize this one. Colonize. Oh, I have all the text. I think it might because it's a core world, or at some point it was you didn't see any beacons for anything that you didn't at least have 1 point in a stat on. You could, like, since it doesn't have cultural input, I don't think I can put a culture one there, but I can put one here. Or maybe your don't get it. It's only downside because I don't have all the new... Oh, wow. No one said anything. Your might not... Well, I don't know about those two, but let's try this one. Now that I know I have a point. I don't know what that'll say. Okay, I'm going to say your don't have it. But you can build culture beacons to boost the input. And as a... Oh, maybe I said that off before I turned my sound on. Culture beacon works just fine. Let me go in here. I see post after post after post saying this doesn't work. Yes, it does. It has for a very long time. Yeah, they change everything, so it's like used to be. I mean, there are some variations before, but now, like even whole tech trees, it's like I'd say every critical tech is still in the tree, but might have a different name.
Despite being the youngest race in the
Oh, it's Planetary Beacon has worked the same way for like since 1.5. In fact, I think it's always has worked, and I'll explain how it works, why no one can ever find it. All right. I don't know why that's not working. Okay, see this cultural input icon? Good. I just need the tech. I see it now. Watch this icon. It says 11. I build the planetary beacon that I just unlocked, can't find. Now it's 12. It's actually as clear as it was before. It's just no one... I'll show why no one can find it. So it adds 3. So that's where... Problem is when people are looking at it, they look here, they're like, well, I don't see them by +1. Well, if you hold shift, which is new in Supernova, you can see the breakdown, then you see the beacon. But if it's coming from a colony, you'll see it here. But if you go into here, you have to go like 4 layers of tooltips to see it. So it's there, but usually when people click on this, they're not watching the stat, and so they don't think it does anything. So that's why that's where it's all is you gotta go to the colony supplying it. You know, all the stats, all the beacons, planetary whatnot. It's applying to the colony. Not it's not going to show. It's not adding. It's actually a naming thing that this is influence. Sorry, cultural input, which is actually, oh great, it's cultural significance here. That's the old name of it. Um, yeah, so that's where it's at, because there's a difference between cultural input. Why does that say cultural? Yeah, cultural input and influence. They're different stats. It's just like this isn't manufacturing. It's minerals. So manufacturing is, or minerals are an input. Manufacturing is an output. Um, no, in 2.2 it worked the exact same way. Um, it literally has, like, the reason why I say this is I've actually been showing people every time this comes up. This this is not just you. Everyone's cannot find this. How this works. It's been the same way forever. Um, in fact, it was so much. I think they added some more stuff to it and confused the whole thing. Which was like, no, it's just finding this. It doesn't need to change. So that's where that's comes into play. Okay, so that's the reason why I went in there. That's one way you can use to boost your cultural influence. The other thing is you find a world that has cultural, and just like your inputs and your outputs, finding the best world possible is the where you want to focus all your energy on boosting. Now, let's see if I can find a paradise world without spending too long looking for one. I will find like 3 of them if I start a game I'm going to actually play, but when I'm looking for these, I will not find one. Jungle Worlds. Paradise World will always be a core candidate. Yeah, it's just not visible. Alright, check this one. Let's go here. Well, sometimes this one... Yeah, of course I'm not going to find one because I'm... Oh, of course I find a weak Paradise World. Anyways, this number can get up to like 10. So what you want to do with these is, let's say you want to take a sector with a colony. Is you take the cultural input, you feed it beacons and stuff to get that number as high as possible, and then you put all the good improvements on this world, and it will feed. You take the input, you multiply by the multipliers, and that's your influence growth per turn, and then that feeds into the planet. Colonize and colonize. Let's get a few of these. Apply a governor. So right now it's like at 2, which is the most garbage paradise world there is. Unless they nerf these. I haven't seen a good paradise world. It used to be very good. Alright, so it's a 4. You know, we all know planetary input, the higher the better. It's also, there's citizens that you can do that give better stats for that. And then you take your multiplier. So you take your flat amounts and you multiply it, and that gives you influence growth per turn. That feeds into here. So at the end of the turn, I should have about 17 influence. Colonies generate 1. It's not displayed. I'll show you how I find it. List stat and influence. So, ah, that's not the right one. Let's see. Oh, I think it's influence per turn. No, the for colonies, it's meant to be a trivial amount, so they're not boosted. I don't think they're boosted by star bases either, um, because and this is the naming convention stuff that I kind of hinted on. Did I delete Earth? I think I did. Oops, deleted Earth, or did I move Earth? Might be a random. Oh, yeah, I moved Earth. Nah, nah, nah. Cheats are fun. Um, no, they're because culture star bases boost influence. They don't boost cultural significance. So that's why they don't boost colonies. Colonies don't. Colonies get like one influence just so they can kind of claim stuff around them, but there's no way boosting them unless you go. Is it individuals? You grab representation, but it now generates 2 influence. It's garbage. So you'll the only thing that basically will allow you to do is if you and the AI are fighting over 2 colonies, not core worlds, they if you take representation after like many turns, the the other one will eat that. But usually a core world with its huge influence generation will overtake it. All right, so we got this, and you can take all the bonuses and you add the influence per turn, and then there's a formula for the that determines how big the circle is, and it'll tell you right here how big the circle is. So well, this number is taking this influence number, which is 10, and the I think it's like the cube root, but it's not exactly. It might be modified. It's a cube root of that number to get your natural influence radius. So this takes 3 tiles. And then when you get to 16 influence, which usually happens like you roughly the following turn, then you get another ring. And then, there's as you meet each threshold, the ring gets bigger. Now, competing influence, I can do a weird thing. Yeah, I can move Earth right here with cheats. Cheats are great for learning the game, but it could also ruin the game for you too. So be warned. All right. So how are these circles figured out? Well, if you have a certain amount of influence, I believe it's just one within the influence range. So even though Earth is still here. This is going to be even though this circle for Earth is showing like over here, that's not actually its influence effect. It's actually taking a full circle right here. However, this tile, the Terran resistance has more influence, so it claims that tile. And so every beacon is strongest in the center, and then it gets weaker as it goes further out. Whichever one gets the most influence, you know, goes out, whatnot. Whichever one has the strongest influence on any given tile claims a tile. So now don't worry too much about how these borders draw. In fact, they have lots of bugs with them. Um, that's not important. In fact, it's actually better to look at the grid color, because the grid, this light blue here, which is different than this. I don't know, this other blue. This kind of teal color is the one for Terran. This will be correct, even if with the grid lines bug. So when in doubt, look at that, what color that is. Now, they do a little bit of, to make things look nicer and more smooth and stuff like that. In GalCiv 3, the squiggly hexes is my fault. I complained and complained and complained and complained about bleeding tiles. They fixed it. Uh, but yeah, the squiggly thing was for me. Yeah, it's better now because I think if you have identical, like if you're Festron pink and you pick a pink sieve, the Festron will be a different color. But if you're a similar color, then like Torians and Zloxy, I think they changed them a little bit now, but it used to be so close so you couldn't see who was who. Um, and same thing with Terran Resistance is identical color in my mod. So, is there my mod around here? Yeah. So let's do this. Let's grab. I actually had a whole stream, and pretty much every 5 minutes was me complaining about this. Let's see. Oh, okay, they changed it. Almost looks like something that get me in trouble with YouTube. They're slightly different colors now, but they're pretty close. They used to be absolutely identical before. All right. Let's see. Did I cover everything you want to know about borders? Jeez, I didn't realize it's about 3 hours. I think that's for the most part. It's a really long. The planetary, the plant management thing is very deep, and you can do a lot with it. And I even learn new tricks all the time. Oh, there's often a pretty big gap between border and zone of control hexes. Well, there's a bug if you have. So it's based on. I want to I want to know if you're talking about that bug. If you have a lot of AIs, it's not going to like. Are you talking about this border? Like the 1 second. This video's going to be. Everyone's like, "What are you doing to the screen?" Are you talking about the difference between this and like the colored hexes here? Because this okay, yeah, that's a bug, and uh, what that is there's every one of these borders is stored in memory, and it's tracking like all the vertices. The problem is Stardock made a game that allows you to have like far more hexes than any other 4X strategy game on the planet right now, and it can't draw them all. So as you eliminate the number of border draws it needs, those missing borders start coming back. Now they made it used to be really easy to reproduce. They increased it, so it's something to do with say. But if you actually eliminate some of the the civilizations, they will start coming back. And how it works is if you go to list players, it starts with you and goes down the list, and then once it runs out of space in its border table, it stops drawing borders. So I did a fair amount of testing. So the one of the fixes I said you got to increase the size, but the game allows you to put the largest galaxy, the lar- the the biggest sector size is bigger than most 4X games. So you have the largest sector, the most many sectors, and then they also have 100 AIs and trying to draw borders for all those planets. It's a very large number, and the downside is you can't necessarily just increase the number too much, because then players that were playing on larger maps by a computer that probably could barely support them stop being able to play the game because the memory usage increases with each one. So it's a challenging problem, but that's what it is. It can't drive more borders. It ran out in the array. All right. Other than that, I think the other thing I didn't actually cover this screen here. Actually, see this plan colonies. You can filter these, and it does core words, colonies, everything. So if let's say you're looking for a planet, a good research planet. Now it's not necessarily going to do research all that well, but it's going to sort the list based on um, the technology. Same thing with with wealth. So you can use these sorted fields to find um, certain worlds, better worlds than others. You can also hover over this to find, let's say you need a resource like harmony crystals. There's no filter unfortunately for it, but you can go down the list here and hover over it and see which ones have resources. And I always like this because I always forget to improve my resources. You can come over here and actually check them out. And there's a lot of different sort options. You can also just sort by, let's say you're trying to find a paradise world. Most likely it's going to be one of the biggest worlds. So like class 36. That or it's going to be like here. So here's a paradise world. Um, they will be like some of the highest class planets. Gaia world if you get them from Stellaris. I think they actually did nerf these, and which is good because these used to be like plus 10 to 14 cultural influence, and so people would take one of these worlds and they never have to worry about they'd flip the entire sector. So it looks like they nerfed those, which is pretty good. So you can use this planet class to find paradise worlds, which are some of the best ones to colonize. You can use minerals if you want higher minerals. You're looking for a good production world, research world. So you can. This is a great tool for that. Yep. Yeah, it works for uncolonized. Obviously, approval doesn't do anything for that because don't or in population won't have anything on uncolonized. But otherwise, that yeah, you can do it. Pollution. And you can kind of see it here. Each world, the pollution is random in a range. So certain worlds have less pollution than others. But if you look up here, volcanic worlds have a lot. Corrosive worlds have a lot. So these worlds they tend to be good ones to put your manufacturing districts on because they usually have good minerals anyways. But you need to keep your pollution below 50%, and you want to ideally, and you want to feed it colonists from a colony ship because it's not going to grow very fast. But if you see like a really good highly polluted world, feed it colonists um, from other worlds, so you can grow your colonies from other ones. So like a lot of people like, oh, I don't like the min maxing part of it. It's like, yeah, but a lot of people that say that also want high stats. This is how you get them. You feed the volcanic worlds your population, and then you use other plants to grow them. And you can use the automate tab to basically set up so you have an order to build colony ships, which I wish it worked a little differently. But more importantly, you can say shipyards sending ships to nowhere. Let's send it to the colony that I want to uh, send the population to, and then you can just let that run for a while. You don't have to micro all your ships to the different worlds. It's like uh, you can do a lot. And I didn't cover even half of the stuff that I think. I keep thinking of, oh, I could cover this. But yeah, so that's another useful feature for planet management. If you, oh, excuse me. If you have any questions about the game, feel free to hit me up. Um, I will say that pretty much the answer to anything like can't be done can. There's a lot. Um, the the system is actually very well designed. So if you're having trouble with like, oh, how do I grow food? How do I do this? Ask me uh, in Discord, or you can message me if you want, or chat chat in the comments. Um, I do respond to all my comments. If you put something that I don't like, though, I will delete it, but and maybe ban you. There's some people who've got bans. Don't advertise. Let's see. Yeah, I am still. I have 1,600 hours in this game, and I still learn new stuff every time I play. Um, that's why. And I had about 1,500 hours in GalCiv 3. So everyone that says, "Oh, this game's just like GalCiv 3," not even close. I don't even know. It's like I could say you just did not engage with the game if you say that. Let's see. Yeah, I'm actually, even with all those game hours in the game, I'm terrible at building up my research worlds. Oh, this is all goofy. Um, Other than that, this is. I actually, a lot of people don't realize that there's these stats. In fact, you can sort of peek at what AIs are there. Um, yeah, let's see. Never played in GalCiv 4. Yeah, GalCiv 3 was. So 2 is was very good. 3 was kind of. They had a reprogram. They basically reprogrammed 2 in a modern system. So 3 wasn't that good when it first came out. But then they came out with Crusade and got better. And 3 was pretty good by the end. There's a little bit of system bloat, like the government system. I didn't really care too much for. Um, there's a there's a vassal system, which is like if you found the system and try to use it, you just threw away a colony. It did not work at all. And then 4 came out and they redid the whole system with the cores and colonies and revamped the whole thing. But it wasn't good when it first came out. And then uh, this was epic. So it, I was actually responding to posts like someone's like, "Oh, you're doing 5 DLCs for GalCiv 4?" I was like, "This game is literally 2 years old. But if you only played on Steam, you just got it recently. Uh, minor civs. There. Well, I'm like this video's long, but I don't mind. Minor civs actually have a few uses. Oh, I didn't show my trick. This is this is my this is why minor civs are amazing. Let me find one. I'm so gonna get this nerfed. It's so strong. Where's a minor civ? Why don't I see one? Did I turn them off? I might. I should have seen one by now. Okay, maybe I turned them off. 1 second. Um, they actually. Oh yeah, I did turn them off. I actually have to limit the number of minor civs because you can. There's a trick. And I call it Alana's Trophy Worlds. If they nerf this, I want an improvement in my name called Alana's Trophy World.
Despite being the youngest race in the galaxy.
Because I might probably be the one that causes this nerf. So whoever's reading this or watching this, if you nerf this, I'm going to demand that I have an improvement named after me. FOWNC. Okay. Minor civs are not useless. So first thing, if you were to take this and paint your influence over them, which is not going to work because I'm not that faction. Yank. So the way they work, if you talk to them, they have their homeworld and their resources and stuff like that. And all you gotta do is you will get whatever is in the output box if you cover their world with your influence. I just don't know how it reflects in game. That might be. I might not show it. Let's see. What would show up the best? Oh, it's not drawing the line. It will draw a line and you basically gain the outputs. So you can't flip them, but you can, whoever paints them over. But that's not the cool part. The cool part, which I just destroyed my shipyard, it's way over here. Siege ship. No, I want transports. No, not supply ships. Let's put this back over here and finish. Yeah, they're basically like colony, but let's move this over here and then reset. Oh, dang it, I deleted. Hit the wrong hotkey. Should delete some of my pops. Alright. And let's clone this. Here's another thing that you do not see. Okay, so I've taken over this world, and then you can assign a governor. And then you can... Oh, they probably haven't time to build these up. See this industrial center? Well, let's go to Earth. Oops. I did not even build it, so it wasn't going to work. Industrial center. I think Terrans still have industrial center, right? This might have been changed a little bit. Oh, I can't build. Did this out of order. All right. Yeah, I can't do it. Anyways, I'll just explain it. Let's say I had the industrial center on Earth, right? Let me find another. Let me find a save where I'm actually progressed, because this is. But anyways, the you can, if you destroy a civilization achievement, you can rebuild it somewhere else. So you can. Well, you used to be able to because most factions used to get planetary mainframes. Is when you conquered an AI that had a planetary mainframe, you can rebuild it somewhere else. Now, it may be a little different because of all the unique improvements, so they may have partially nerfed this. So, and you can do it with your homeworlds, but um, let's if I conquer some of the minor AIs, let's say I conquered 3 AIs and they all had planetary mainframes. Here we go. I don't actually remember the command for mod stats. Is there conquer? No. Well, I probably did it over here because I look like I'm in a war and I think there's a minor civ on this fight. So like these industrial centers you get from the AIs. If I conquer another AI, I can get another industrial center, even though they're a colony or civilization achievement. So let's find. I should have a transport. This is a war. Transport, transport, transport. It's probably having such similar. I'll just. Why am I wasting a whole bunch of time on this? Let's just make some transport. Finish. I love that they added this management screen here. Okay, so let's find a minor civ. I saw one. Is it here? Okay, right here. Of course, it's not in range. It's becoming a lot more complicated than I was planning on. Oh, no, the fleet management. There's always tricks. Okay, constructor. Build military starbase. Now in launch invasion. Okay, so I get this colony here. Now, if you look here, I have industrial center. It's a civilization achievement. Watch this be nerfed. Industrial center from a minor civilization. So if I destroy it, I get a charge of an industrial center. So now, normally I could only build one of these. I can build a second one on the same on this. You could leave it on the plant, but usually you can min max these. And now I have two of them. So miner sieves. Unfortunately, I just take over, strip them from their capital mainframes, strip them from their uh, all their other improvements, put them on my worlds, and if there's like 8, I can have a world with 8 planetary mainframes or capital mainframes from all the miner civs, which is much better use of it because of how all this stuff optimizes. They're +3 to level to research, and 3% per level, so you can very quickly get pretty high research numbers. Um, so warmongers uh, get the best use out of it. So that's why I've actually started to play with kind of under or reducing the minuses, because I was I was responding to people like, "Oh yeah, this is really easy. I don't know how you have trouble with research." I'm like, "Oh, I have like 20 of these things on the planet." It's like, yeah, I should probably do that before I respond because I definitely having unrealistic numbers. All right, well, I have been babbling for 3 hours. So I think I'm going to probably jump into Discord for a little while and maybe chill and play a little bit. But hopefully this helps. Um, as long as this video is, I didn't even probably scratch all the, I didn't even go into the only things, like all the combinations of improvements. I covered the starport and the Hollow Theater. Um, the main thing because the game changes so much, what I like to show off is not necessarily what's the best combination. This is an older version of the game. What's the best combination, but how to look at these improvements and kind of piece them together. Because tomorrow, whatever I say here, it could be completely different. This is a mod, by the way. Oh, it's broken. I'll have to look at that later. So, yeah, feel free to ask if you have any questions, and I will jump in Discord. Bye.